Okay, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. Cast your mind back. Do you remember when we were fixing the horizontal track to the vertical frame leg? We located this pin in the hole at the top and we put the T20 fixing in here. And then the track was sitting at 45 degrees onto the floor. Well, there's a reason for that as well, and it allows you a second way of assembling the door. Because you can actually put the springs in at that point, load everything up, and then lift the tracks up to the point that we've actually got to just now, where the tracks are sitting horizontal and we're about to start fixing the springs in up there, because I know that's the way most people do it. But this is another way, and in showing you down here, you'll see what we're going to do up there in a minute as well. And I want to talk you through all the parts, because this is really pretty simple. So we've got a pulley. We've got two pulleys actually. We've got springs. We have got a spring anchor. And we've got spring spacers. And we've got our cable. And we've got what we all call the cheesies. So, let's talk about the cable. The cable comes with a label on it. We would like it if you left the label on the cable. The reason is, in the future, if anybody has to service the door and they want to know what cables they are, that tells them exactly what cable it is. This door has an S3 cable, and we understand what that is. If I come to the springs, you'll see they've got a colour on the end of them. This is a green spring, a GS5 we call it. So again, if somebody identifies a spring by the colour on the end of it, we know exactly what spring they've got. So how does all of this go together? Well, there's quite a lot of logic to it actually. Let's start at this end. Pass our cables onto the pulley. Now if you see there, they're all flopping around. No good. So there's a solution to that, and that's what the cheesies are for. Because if you look at them, they're curved. And they just sit in there like that. Little tap in, that side, flick it over. Second cheese in, and now your cables don't jump in the pulley. Dead simple. There's another reason though, and if you can see, the actual edge of the cheesies is sitting proud. That means when the pulley's sitting in the tray, this is keeping the metal body of the pulley off the tray, and it's gliding along the tray. So it keeps everything nice and quiet. So let's assemble the springs onto the tray. The anchor, and we always put the curly part of the spring upwards. There we go. I can pass that down to my feet. And there's a slot in the end of the track. The anchor comes through and out the other end, and Steve will pop that little anchor onto the end, and that holds the spring securely. What we then have is the spring spacers, and I'm going to position these along the spring. You notice the spring tapers. It's really important that we put the spacer within 10 millimeters of the end. That's perfect, of the taper, where the taper finishes. This would be no good down here. Why is it no good down there? Well, what happens is when the springs go in tension, they snake. And what will happen is the head of the spring will point downwards and they'll start dragging along the tray, making a lot of noise. So you really want it within 10 millimeters of the front. And it just sits down there. See if you can put one down at the bottom, near the back. And the other ones, well, just about the length of the spring up. And then we got a pulley. And we just need to think about this. There's the piece that connects to the bottom hookup bracket, and that runs down the inside. So you want the pulley to come in with these anchors on the outside, which pick up the holes on the frame leg. So you just pop that in there like that. Run it back. And you're now going to pick up the springs here. Okay, so that's everything in there. And what you probably do at this point is you just get some light oil, GT85 or something, just give it a light coating, never grease, nothing like that. And then just reach here and pull the tray cover. And the tray cover easily locates. Find the leading edge, pop it in, and then feed it backwards into the housing like that. And just walk it forwards. That's all on. And then the final piece that I put onto it, well, let them over here. Twist locks. That just holds everything in place. Now what I'd ask you to remember is that the energy in these springs is quite considerable. You think of the way we're protecting those springs. You think about the people that might be in a garage, children. You think where the safest place is for the springs in the garage. I think the safest place is on top of the horizontal tracks, in nice solid metal boxes, clipped at the end, twist locked in place, so if anything does fail, it's completely enclosed. That, I think, is the safest spring mechanism in the garage door industry. And now, we're ready to install it, like we did earlier on. So we go to the door, you'd have Steve would have his end down on the floor, we'd connect it up 45 degrees, and then we go through the whole process again of lifting it up, strapping it in place, and then we just connect the cables up. So that's a different way of doing it that we don't tend to do, though it is actually what's in the fitting instructions. So I'll go ahead now and do it the way that we all do it in the UK, which is now climb up steps and do everything at high level. Okay, see you in a few minutes.